Tounde Yessoufou has been a name that we've been hearing a lot about lately, and he has been showing out at the NBPA Top 100 event. Through 2.5 days at this camp, this is per Jamie Shaw, Tundi was averaging 27 points, which was second overall in the camp. This dude's a bucket. The tape is really, really fun. He's a 4-star prospect, 5-star on the 24/7 composite, 20th nationally, 37th on 24/7's own rankings. And he has offers from all over: Arizona, Kansas, UCLA, USC, Washington. A lot of West Coast schools here. Pretty much the entire old Pac-12 was on Tundi. He is a California kid. He's from Santa Maria, California. He's listed as a 6'5" power forward. You watch him, I think he's a little more fluid, more of like a true wing than like a power forward type. But obviously, you got to have some level of physicality to be listed as a power forward when you're only 6'5". This kid is a really, really fun player, and Kentucky is trending for him right now. That's the loudest spot that I'm hearing about Tundi. Your thoughts on Tundi, the player?
Well, one, I actually wasn't too familiar with him until this camp came about, to be honest with you. But his game at this camp, I think, does not lie. He's all of 6'5", and he is powerful, like extremely powerful. When he gets downhill, he's making a lot of these high schoolers look like, high schoolers when he's in high school himself. Like he plays with a strength and a brute force that I think, I like him, and I think it works. I am intrigued to see how it will translate to the next level when other players are as strong as him and things like that. Because a lot of right now, his stuff is downhill. I'm bigger, I'm stronger than you. And it really works. But I don't think you can argue with the body of work and, the level of game he's able to play with. I was very impressed with his ability to get downhill and score the basketball.
Yeah, he made the all-star team at this event. You watch a lot of the film at this event. It is kind of like bulldozer-y, right? Like he's stronger than almost everybody. Off the dribble, he can just go right through people. Kind of does feel like, I'm not saying he's a below the rim player, but because he's only 6'5", a lot of the stuff he gets ends up being below the rim, given the way he's attacking the rim. Is that a fair assessment, do you think? Like, I think he's an athlete, but it definitely feels more like low to the ground than what you'd expect.
He plays like a below the rim, and this is gonna sound asinine, but like he plays like a below the rim Anthony Edwards. Like that's actually like Anthony Edwards if he couldn't like rise up and just dunk over people. And he also just like doesn't have like the mid-range or shooting ability of Ant, but like the way he just gets downhill and is like stronger than everybody else is like Ant Edwards-esque, I guess. Also like aesthetically, he kind of plays like him.
That's one of the more insane things I've ever heard, but I like it. He also
He's
went
not
viral a
Ant.
couple months ago. Did you see the game winner he had against Sierra Canyon in the
Yeah.
playoffs? That
Yeah.
was nuts. So they basically threw like a lob up to him. He catches in traffic and hits a fadeaway contested to knock Sierra Canyon out of the state playoffs in California. Um, yeah, I think like I would like this prospect no matter what. I like him a lot more because Kentucky's after him. And look, I think this kid could end up at Kansas. I think he could end up at Arizona. I think he could end up at Tennessee. Like, he is clearly that caliber player, even if he's not like a consensus top 10 kid. But I think it's interesting Mark Pope is prioritizing him because he's not what you would normally think of like a Mark Pope player, right? Like you think of like the finesse shooting perimeter oriented game. And Tundi is not that, right? Like Tundi to me is like alpha physical, do it all guy. And I think we're kind of learning Mark Pope's type at Kentucky might be a little different than it was at BYU.
Yeah, which I think is the correct thing to do too, because it's not the WC or the Big 12 now what it is now. It's a completely different conference. And things are different in the SEC. So like, I could see, even though it goes against Mark Pope's kind of MO, I can see why he needs a player like this because I think in the SEC you need guys that are like 6'5", extremely strong, can check. I'm trying to get my player comp for him, G. I don't know if I can. Like, is he a Lou Dort type?
I think he's more on ball dynamic than Lou Dort is, but I guess Lou was very good at that.
He was kind of like that in high school and the college level, and then he kind of turned himself into like just this role defender.
Yeah, Lou Dort to me is like a little more, I don't know, just more of a score first shooter, like step back three stuff than Tundi has. I'm gonna
Hmm.
say a crazy one, and to me, this guy was like uber athlete, and Tundi isn't that. But Tundi is athletic. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say you go to his profile. The third video down was him pulling off a between the legs dunk. So like
yeah.
he's got it somewhat.
There's a bunch of clips of him above the rim and like between the leg shit. It's just when he's like doing stuff off the dribble, he looks more low to the ground. It's a really interesting dichotomy. Uh, what about Keontae Johnson? Kansas State, Keontae Johnson?
I like that. Except Keontae was uber athletic though.
He was, but like Keontae, I'm trying to think like undersized four
Yeah,
that ends
like
up
six
doing a bunch of
five,
on the
three,
ball
four,
stuff.
man. Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
like. Actually, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my read on Tundi. Do you think this is Kentucky's recruitment to lose?
No, because for some reason I can't shake the feeling that this kid somehow stays on the West Coast.
Yeah. Every offer is like California.
Yeah, like he strikes me as just staying like at like I don't like he might. I think he's going to Oregon. I don't even know if he has an Oregon offer,
This
but
feels like a UCLA USC one. Like, is Muss really about it at USC now? Because if Muss is really about it, he lands Tundi.
I would love him in Muss's system.
That's where I'm at. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.